Hey, I think this is it. All right, folks. Hey, everyone. Welcome to DevRunner. My name is Paul. I'm an endurance runner and a certified running coach, and this is the Tobacco Road Taper Madness live stream for 2023. For those of you who don't know, I've spent the last 14 weeks training for the Tobacco Road Marathon in Cary, North Carolina, and it's been a rough go. I'm not going to lie about it. 100+ mile weeks throughout. And I am very happy to be at the tail end of the taper and to be sharing all of the stories of battle with you this evening for the next hour. Before I get into it, I want to encourage everybody who's watching live to participate in the chat. I would love to answer your questions. I would love to see everybody chatting amongst themselves and sharing taper and racing stories with me, so we can share that with everybody. I'd love to shout everybody out who joins in. And let's see, if you are joining us and watching this after the fact, I encourage you to drop a comment or a question below, and I will get to you immediately. I'd be more than happy to talk to you about what's going on or answer any questions about my training that you may have. With that, of course, please like this video. I encourage you to subscribe to my channel if you are not already subscribed. It really helps me to reach a new audience. So there you go. The only other thing I'm going to say is a little bit of housekeeping here before we get right into it is that I have a new website. It is called DevRunnerCoaching.com, and it is where you can learn all about how I can help you with your training if you're looking for a coach or if you're looking for a personalized training plan that is suited exactly to your lifestyle. Just go to DevRunnerCoaching.com and you can learn all about how we can work together. Now, with that said, I can see there are a handful of people already joining in. Thank you for being here. And please drop a comment. I'd love to start the conversation. Let's see, folks. Just to get started, I want to tell you about what my current PR is, what my goals are for the upcoming race, et cetera, et cetera. On October 26th of 2019, I ran a 2-hour, 52-minute, and 24-second marathon at the Peak to Creek Marathon in the mountains of North Carolina. And yeah, I remember how tough that race was, how beat up, how battered I felt when it was all said and done. But yeah, I did walk away with a new PR. I beat my former PR that day 3 years ago by, I think, 3 minutes. So my goal for the Tobacco Road Marathon in a mere 3 days from now is to run a 2:52:23 or faster. If I get a 1 second PR, folks, I am utterly thrilled. And let me not so much apologize, but make you aware that my puppy dog Calvin is sharing the room with me, because if I leave him on the other side of that bedroom door, he will bark continuously, which doesn't mean he's not going to bark continuously anyway throughout this live stream, but at least we stand a better chance of better puppy behavior if he's here with me. So yeah, folks, a 2:52:23 is what I'm chasing on this coming Sunday. The temperatures for race day are looking pretty solid for the last few days. It looks like the temperature at the start line is going to be 34 degrees Fahrenheit, which is probably 1 or 2 degrees Celsius. So it's going to be a chilly one out there. And I've been doing some test runs of my gear in the last couple of days to make sure that I can wear as little as possible without freezing into a block of ice. So there you have it. My plan, is to wear a singlet, some arm sleeves, some cotton throwaway gloves, merino wool beanie. I'm going to be wearing some half tights because I just love the compression. I love how the freedom of movement that comes with those. And one thing I guess I'll share with you, because they are a new acquisition, I haven't even released my video for the review of the shoes, but here are the shoes that I'm going to wear. As I lean ever so proficiently out of the camera shot, there they are. These are the Saucony Endorphin Pro 3. I've run in them once. I took them out for an 8-miler and frankly couldn't believe how great they were. For those of you who are new to my channel and don't know, I have been a longtime fan of the Saucony Endorphin line and have owned all of the Pro series and all of the Speed series, and even some of the I'm going to forget the name of the heavy duty training shoe, but I've been a fan of all of them since their inception 2 or 3 years ago. And I'm happy to say that the Pro 3 is just such a leap forward for the Pro shoe. It's much softer and it is more springy. It's just an incredible shoe. I am also the proud owner of a pair of Nike Vaporfly 2s. Which are another soft, squishy, yet fast shoe. The only problem I have with them is that they just have a tendency to just chew up my Achilles like crazy. So, you know, it's one of those things where I would have loved to wear them in this race, the Vaporfly 2, but I don't trust them. I took them out for one track session last week, where I performed incredibly well in them, but did not go over 6 miles in total in them. So I'll probably use them for 5K, 10K, and half marathon races. But yeah, I'm hesitant to wear them for a full marathon, seeing as how they performed on my last half marathon back in November, where I ran a good time. But yeah, I was bleeding pretty heavily at the end of that race. So anyway, enough negative talk about the Nike shoes. I am very excited about the Saucony Endorphin Pro 3 for Sunday's race. Again, for those of you who are just joining, I'm seeing that the number of viewers is going up and up, which I am very thankful for. Thank you for joining me tonight. But if you want to jump in with some comments, I'd be more than happy to answer your questions. I'd be more than happy to take the discussion in a direction that suits you. So feel free to join in. Let's see here. I just want to make sure I'm not looking in the wrong place. No, looks like I'm in the right place. I'm just not seeing comments yet. So, all right, folks, let's talk a little bit about the course, the Tobacco Road Marathon course. It is defined as a rolling hills course. Not terrible, not tons and tons. I think the total vertical gain on the entire 26.2 miles is somewhere between 400 and 500 feet total. But yeah, the way it's laid out, the first 2.5 miles of the course are definitely qualify as rolling hills, and that happens on tarmac. And then you immediately hang a right onto an old converted railroad trail, which is like packed gravel and dirt. And I've run this race twice before. Last year, in fact, I ran it. And it's well packed. It's softer impact than tarmac or concrete, but you know, it's not loose gravel, so I'm not worried about that or needing a trail shoe in order to run this race. But the first 5 miles, once you hit that trail, are a mild, like 1% grade downwards. So I hope to be able to hit my intended pace at that point in the race, which is 6:30, 6:29 per mile, if I can manage it. And then when you hit the 8.5 mile point in the race, there's a turnaround. And then there's 10 miles of slight uphill, 1 to 2% uphill grade. So it definitely works your quads trying to climb for that full 10 miles. But then you get 5 miles after that of another slight 1 or 2% downhill. And then you're back. The final 2.5 miles of the course are on the same rolling hills that I went out on. So yeah, there's a little of everything. I try to convince myself that the fact that the course is not pancake flat is going to work for me, because it doesn't just wear out the same muscles in the same way over the entire course. So I'm hoping that the hills will give me a little bit of relief from using the same muscle groups in exactly the same way. So that is my positive thinking, so that I don't let those hills sort of psych me out and slow me down. I plan to go out around 6:40 per mile for the first 2.5 miles until I hit the trail. And then I want to just lock right in at 6:30s, 6:29s. So that's the plan. I've got reason to believe that I'm capable of holding that over the course of this training cycle, which has been pretty much 11 weeks of hard training with several weeks of the training going to 100 or more miles per week. I've only had minor, niggles happening in my legs and in my hips, but nothing that a good night's sleep and some good nutrition didn't solve. So I'm feeling really, really good. After 3 weeks of taper, I'm kind of raring to go. What can I tell you? I prefer an 18-week cycle. Last time that I set my PR back in 2019, it was after an 18-week marathon training cycle. High mileage again, so very similar to the one that I just finished, but just with 4 extra weeks in there. Folks, if anybody is leaving comments, I just want to say it again. I am not seeing them. I don't know if there's a technical issue, but if somebody even wants to drop a test comment so that I can know if things are working, I would hate to find out after this is all said and done that I simply just didn't see the comments and that there were a lot of them. So folks, what else do I want to tell you about before we talk about sort of in-race tactics or anything like that? I guess we can talk about gels and fueling. My plan is to use Cliff gels exclusively, the strawberry flavored. Hey, Toby, thank you. Now I can see that, in fact, the comments are working. Toby, the Kilted Adventurer, let me share this. For those of you who don't know Toby, I encourage you, if you want to see incredible footage, hiking footage, and get to know the Southwest and the amazing, beautiful, beautiful hiking trails that are available, I encourage you to get over to Toby's channel, The Kilted Adventurer, and get yourself subscribed, because I watch Toby every week, and he never ceases to amaze me with the beauty of nature that he finds and shares. So thank you, Toby, for being here this evening. Folks, so the plan is Cliff Gel strawberry flavor, which are 100 calories per, and with 20, I believe it's 20 milligrams of caffeine in each one. The plan is to down one gel about 15-20 minutes before the gun goes off on race day this Sunday, and then every 4 miles I will take another. So every 26 minutes or so, hopefully even sooner than that if I'm running fast enough. So at 4 miles, 8 miles, 12, 16, 20, and probably 22 or 23, because you know how the end of a marathon goes. You get desperate, and anything that could possibly help you to maintain pace. I'm not waiting for mile 24 for that last gel. In addition to that, I'm also going to be drinking the tropical flavored Tailwind, which is also fortified with caffeine. I respond very, very well to caffeine on race day. I've tested long runs where I just take in sugar and compared that on the same training course to the days where I add caffeine, and it's like night and day. I just move faster and feel better moving faster when there's caffeine in my system. So that's the plan going in, folks. I'm just looking at my notes as I go here to make sure I kind of stay on topic. Hey, I'm glad to see Richard Runs Trails has joined us tonight. Thank you, Richard. I love the encouragement. Guys, if you don't know Richard, he is a ultra runner extraordinaire hailing from Texas. Amazing channel. He does some great live streams. He shares his cross training and his strength training as well. I've learned so much from Richard over the years, but especially in the last 3 or 4 months, he's kind of steered me in the direction of how I'm going to continue my training. Once this race is over, I'm going to start a creatine regimen instead of just doing sort of, just a straight whey protein like I have been doing throughout this training cycle. But yeah, I'm really, really excited for following a lot of Richard's recommendations for how to get stronger and how to get faster. Go to his channel. Yet another one. I wouldn't shout somebody out if I didn't truly believe that their channel was awesome and I didn't really like them as a person. So go check out Richard's channel as well. You're more than welcome, Richard. Thank you for being here tonight. Guys, if you've got any questions for me, if there's anything that I'm not covering that you are just plain curious about, I'm more than happy to, go off onto a tangent. So just let me know. I see we've got a whole lot of people viewing, and I'm very happy that you're here. So yeah, feel free to join the chat. Folks, what do I want to tell you about? I told you this was a 14-week training cycle instead of the 18-week training cycle that earned me my PR back in October of 2019, but a very similar structure with 100+ mile weeks. I think my highest mileage week for this training cycle was either 103 or 105 miles. My memory's failing. I'm 53 years old. Give me a little bit of a break, please. I'm an old man. So yeah, as far as my taper goes, the last 3 weeks, which I have not shared on videos. The first week of the taper, I did 80 miles. The second week of the taper, last week, was 60 miles. This week, by the time my Saturday run is over, before I get in the car and drive to Cary, North Carolina for the race, we'll have 38 miles total. So yeah, I'm feeling fresh. I'm feeling pretty fresh. I just want to make sure that I stay hydrated. I've got my Noon added to my bottle of water here to make sure I've got my electrolytes flowing the whole time. Now, as far as my cookie jar goes, my mental cookie jar, here's a little tip for all of you newer marathon runners. One of the things that you can do to keep yourself mentally in the game when everything hurts is to prepare a mental cookie jar. And all that means is really going through the training cycle mentally, reviewing the training cycle that you've been in, and picking out the three hardest, the three most gratifying workouts from that training cycle so that they come readily to mind. So that when you're in pain, when you're in the latter miles of the marathon and everything's hurting, and you're just telling yourself, boy, things would feel a lot easier if I just sort of slowed down, if I just made it easier on myself. The way to convince yourself to keep on pushing hard is to be able to recall very readily how hard you've worked over the last 3 or 4 months. And if you can just very quickly recall those hard workouts where you went out when you didn't want to, when you did more than you thought you were capable of on a really hard day, then that can really, really come in handy. Before I talk about my 3 specific for this particular race coming up in my cookie jar, I just want to say hi to Mr. Germson. Thank you so much for being here. Mr. Germson is coming to us from the Philippines, I believe. I got to know Mr. Germson through Susie over at I Run Things, and every encounter that I've had with Mr. Germson has been a very positive one. So thank you, sir, for being here with me tonight. I really appreciate you joining me. So thank you. So yeah, getting back to my cookie jar, the things that I will be thinking about at mile 20. Oh, here we go. I'm sorry. I did make a mistake, Singapore. Okay, cool. At least I was in the right region of the world. Mr. Germson, thank you. I truly appreciate that. I hope your training is going well. Yeah, feel free to share that with everybody. And I'm sure everybody that's watching, especially those people who have already commented, would be more than happy to add their 2 cents and to help you on your running journey as well. So my cookie jar, folks, let's talk a little about my 3 proudest moments from the last 14 weeks of training. Number 1, I would have to say, is my 10K time trial from about 5 weeks ago, I think. I ran a 37-minute and 45-second time trial on the track on dead tired legs. So that's not my best ever. It's far from it. My best 10K ever is a 36, I want to say 34, a 36:34. So this didn't touch that. It was like 71 seconds slower than that. But to do that on tired legs in the midst of a hard training cycle, was a real boost. It was a real shot in the arm for me. So I took that as a sign that I was on the right track. 2 weeks later, I then ran a 5K time trial on the track, and I ran an 18:33, which is exactly a minute slower than my best 5K ever. So again, you take those slower times with a grain of salt, because your legs are dead, and you're not mentally all there, and all of life's stresses, as well as just the sheer fatigue, slows you down. But if you can get anywhere within a country mile of your best in the middle of a training cycle, you've got to take that as good news. So I'll be carrying those two with me. And the third cookie in my cookie jar that I will be thinking about on race day, at probably somewhere around mile 20, is came during a workout just last week when I was doing some interval training at the track. I just went there to do 3 by 1600 meter workout, and I got progressively faster as I went. I ran a 5:45 and then a 5:42, and what really sticks out to me is the third one. I actually got way faster, and I ran a 5 minute and 34 second 1600 meter rep, which is 4 times around the track for those of you not in the know. And that 5:34 actually ties my best 1600 ever. So I was incredibly surprised and incredibly happy with that. Let's see what we've got here. Richard says, great time. That would win some 10K races. Yes, and in fact, I've got to say, you may find this hard to believe, but I've only run one 10K, official 10K, like road 10K in my life, and that was in, I want to say 2018, and spring of 2018 probably, and I only ran a 38 something. So this time trial smoked that. So I'm happy with it. I'm definitely happy with it. So yeah, that's enough talking about the cookie jar. Those are the three pieces of encouragement that I will be carrying with me on race day for when things get tough. I know everybody is always very curious. At the end of all my training videos that I post every week, I always one of the things that I always talk about is my current weight. My goal weight when I started this 14-week training cycle was to reach 135 pounds. And I started the training cycle weighing 145 pounds. I am not going to touch 135. Let me just put that out there right now. I am currently sitting at 138.7 pounds, and I have no plans of trying to cram in more weight loss in the last, whatever it is, 48, 60 hours that I've got left to go before the gun goes off. I'm just trying to hold steady, do some good carb loading, stay hydrated, and just give my body a chance to come back to stasis and just improve my health as best as I can after this punishing training cycle. I did begin this past Monday. I did begin my beet juice doping, which for those of you not in the know, beet juice, as well as like tart cherry juice and a few other substances, natural substances, are known to, if taken in the proper quantity at the proper time intervals, are known to dilate your vascular system. And what that allows is easier flow of blood, easier delivery of oxygen to working muscles. So what's been seen is if you take in a minimum of 8 ounces of beet juice every day for a week leading up to race day, and then if the last hit of the beet juice comes 3 or 4 hours before the gun goes off for a race, you get the maximum dilation, which will maximally benefit your muscles when you are working hard in a race. And it's shown to improve performance by 1 to 2% for most people. So absolutely something that you can do that's very easy to improve race performance. Let's see what we've got here. Richard is saying in UFC, they can cut 10 pounds in 24 hours before weigh-in. Yeah, the big thing for me, I've made the mistake of trying to cut weight by even not drinking enough, kind of like as if I was going into even like a bodybuilding competition where you're trying to get ripped, where you're trying to be able to see every sinew of your body. And unfortunately, that dehydration is exactly what you don't want as a long distance runner. So I've chosen not to go down that road this time. I'm trying to take down 6 to 8 of these 500 milliliter bottles a day. And keep in mind, with that said, I'm doing that because I'm running so little in the last days going in. My longest run this week, last Sunday, was a 10 miler. Then I went 8, 7. I only went 6 today. Tomorrow will just be an easy 5, and then 4 the day before, on Saturday before. So I'm not sweating like crazy. I'm not losing a ton of fluid from sweating and running. So 6 to 8 of these a day is more than enough for a little guy like me. So hey, I'm glad to see a few more people have joined the chat, and a few more people are just watching as well. I can see that. So very thankful for that. Let's say some quick hellos before I go on. Beta Fitness, thank you so much for being here. I enjoy your channel as well. I will not go into detail because I'm only summarily familiar, but I do enjoy what I do watch. So thank you for being here as well. I want to say hello to Ayapa, who hopefully I'm not giving too many secrets away, Ayapa, but Ayapa is one of my running clients. As I said at the very beginning of this live stream, I am also a running coach, and I encourage everybody to go to DevRunnerCoaching.com to learn more about how I can help you with your running training. Or if you're just looking for a personalized training plan, I do those too, and you can find everything out. All the little details are on the website, DevRunnerCoaching.com. So I encourage you to check it out after this is all said and done. Anyway, Ayapa, believe it or not only is he one of my clients, but he is also running a half marathon at the Tobacco Road Marathon on Sunday. So we will finally get to meet face to face. I'm looking forward to that very much, Ayapa, a very talented runner, and I'm looking forward to seeing him crush his goals on Sunday. So that's going to be a big boost for me as well. So very cool. Thank you for joining, Ayapa. Okay, we've just got some internal conversation going on in the chat as well, which is awesome. Awesome. Glad to see the community sort of getting together here. Okay, folks, let's see. Where did I leave off? I was talking beet juice doping. The other thing, on the other side of the fence, some of my hydration is coming from beet juice as the days go by. But one thing I have cut from my daily intake for this last week going into the race is I've cut my caffeine. I've completely cut my caffeine. I haven't just cut back, I've just eliminated it from my daily diet. And that is for a couple of reasons. Number one, better sleep, because I don't sleep well anyway, as somebody who is always on top of their nerves. When it comes closer and closer to race day, my sleep tends to come with more difficulty with each passing day as my nerves sort of get topped up. And the second reason is that if you're not taking in caffeine, caffeine is a known diuretic, makes you pee all the time. So if you're not drinking caffeine, you're peeing less. And the hydration, which is so important to a good race performance, stays in your body where it can do you the most good. Happy to see Rhonda here, yet another one of my coaching clients who is chasing a PR at the London Marathon. And I couldn't be happier that Rhonda is here. She is also on Instagram, and just a wonderful person, a great runner who is making strides like beyond what I can believe. Rhonda, to me, will always be known as Progression Rhonda, because I can't believe how she can nail every single progression run that I assigned in her marathon training. Just incredible. I mean, like clockwork, just boom, 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 faster by the mile. Amazing stuff. And Rhonda keeps me just really motivated and inspired with her ability to just knock it out of the park with every run. So thank you, Rhonda, for being here tonight. So yeah, that's what I'm introducing as far as my preparation goes. The first 3 days of this week, I was kind of going heavy into the protein to make sure that I could assure that my body had everything it needed to do the final reparations to all the little micro tears in my muscles that I built up over the last 14 weeks. And as of today, I'm starting heavy into the carb loading. And when I say heavy, folks, let's dispel some silliness that the wider running community tends to think is true, especially newer runners. They think when you're carb loading, that means gigantic mountains of pasta. That's probably not the worst thing you could do for yourself, but it's not the best idea. It'll make you feel heavy. It'll make you feel logy and tired, and you just don't want to go there. The best advice I can give people when you're carb loading, we're just talking about adding an extra 200, 300, 400 calories of extra carbs, simple carbs, as you approach race day. You want the simple carbs. You want like the highly refined wheat flours. You don't want a lot of fiber. You want the stuff that's going to go through your system quickly so that it could be absorbed, turned into glycogen and absorbed into your muscles and your liver so that you are topped up. Your glycogen stores are just maxed out, because when it comes to marathoning, or even half marathoning for that matter, you don't want to bonk. You don't want to run out of that sugar energy that your body needs. And that's why everybody takes gels and takes in liquid sugars as well during a race to try to stave off that bonk. So yeah, bagels, a lot of junky snack foods that you would try to avoid throughout your training cycle become pretty much your best friend when it comes to the last few days leading into a race. So that's all I'm going to say on that. I've got videos dedicated to nutrition, and now's not the time for a deep dive. I just want to kind of keep moving here. I can't believe we're 32 minutes into this already, folks. But yeah, if you've got any questions on nutrition, on hydration, anything along those lines, please just drop them in the chat. I'd be more than happy to continue on that line of thinking, as long as I know somebody out there is interested. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep on yapping about different things. So yeah, folks, I guess I want to talk a little bit more philosophically about racing now, or going into a marathon specifically. I think if you've done the physical work, if you know you've really worked hard, then preparing for a marathon is probably 75, maybe 90% more of a mental pursuit than it is a physical one. At this point, the hay is already in the barn. There's nothing you can do in the last 10 days leading up to a marathon or a half marathon that's going to improve your ability to run faster for longer. At that point, once you've reached sort of that 9-10 day mark, you're probably, you're best served to think of it as just trying to maintain the fitness that you've already earned from all these weeks and months of working. You're not going to do anything except tire yourself out by going really hard in those last few days going into a race. So what you want to do is start working on your mental state of mind so that you can stay focused when the pain starts to set in those latter miles. That's the whole point of the cookie jar that we were talking about earlier, so that you can very quickly, when your body is starting to fail you, when your mind is starting to tell you that your body is failing you, that you can quickly say, but wait a minute, I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to slow down, because think of those hard workouts that I've put in. Look at all those days that I got out the door when I really didn't want to. And I'm not going to give up on myself now. There's just X number of minutes left. I can put up with this pain. I can keep pushing myself. And that's what makes champions. That's what helps you to set a new PR. It's not by just saying, if I slow down now, at least it'll be a comfortable run that's a little bit more fun. That's not what race day is all about. Unless, of course, that's what you set out to do. A lot of people like to run races just for the fun of it, just to see the surroundings, to enjoy a new city or a new course. And that's perfectly fine if you go in with that mindset. But to give up on yourself halfway or 3/4 of the way through a race, if you've got the right mental tools, you can avoid that. Hey, everybody, check it out. My mom is here. You've got it all going great. Hello, everyone. Say hi to my mom. So, folks, how can you do that? How can you focus your mind to make sure, not just in the race, by pulling out your cookie jar, by telling yourself to keep pushing, by convincing yourself that you are worthy of the new PR or whatever it is that your goal is? Leading into the race, I think visualization is a huge, huge part of it that is undervalued by too many runners. I think if you spend a few minutes a day with your eyes closed, but fully awake, not tired, don't do it when you're tired, picturing the course. And when I say picture the course, picture every detail of the course. Study that course map so you know where the rises are, where the falls are, when the terrain may change. Picture yourself and how you are going to feel at every stage of the race so that you're holding yourself back in those early miles when you know you've got the energy to just fly, but you've got to be disciplined to just hold your pace because you're going to need that energy at the end of the race. You want to conserve some of that energy for when things get really painful. You want to prepare for contingencies. What happens? I give this example a lot to my runners, especially. What happens if you drop all your gels? What happens if there's a leak in your drink pouch? If you've already gone through that mentally, it's as if it already happened and you are prepared. You know how you're going to react. You're not going to catastrophize the situation and allow that to have the effect of making your whole race fall apart. Things are going to go wrong. It could be something as simple as your shoelace comes untied. Do I stop or do I keep running and hope that the shoe stays on my foot? If you've made the decision, if your shoe is going to come untied, does come untied, just get down on one knee, get it tied up, sacrifice the 20 seconds and keep moving with peace of mind. These are all the kind of things that if you've already been through it in your head, you are not going to be surprised and it's not going to have a negative effect on you. You'll realize that it's just the way it goes sometimes and you can roll with those punches instead of letting it have deleterious effects on your race. Everybody has something go wrong. Nobody has a perfect day out there. Like I said, it's going to be 34 degrees for me and IAPA on race day on Sunday. I've already tested everything. I'm not going to let it get to me. If it's a little bit stingy and freezing out there while I'm standing at the start line, then I suffer a little bit. But I know full well by the time I'm 2 miles in, I'm going to be sweating. I'm going to be feeling good. And I can lose the hat. I can lose the gloves along the way. No big deal. And I'll be motoring along and feeling just fine. Let's see, folks. What else can I tell you about here? One of the reasons you want to push yourself, not too hard, but very hard throughout your training cycle, is to prove to yourself that you're never going to allow yourself to take that easy way out, that you're never going to give up on your training. And that transfers. All those weeks of pushing yourself make it that much easier to push yourself when things are really, really rough on race day. Because if you're working at your maximum potential for 26.2 miles, or even 13.1, or even beyond the marathon distance, it's not a question of, I hope it doesn't start hurting. You've got to be standing at the start line thinking to yourself, it's not a matter of if it's going to hurt. It's just a matter of when it's going to hurt. If you're giving it your all, you're going to be hurting. It's going to hurt. It's just a matter of pushing through. And a little concept that I want to share with you, made famous by the amazing Dr. Tim Noakes, who is a run coach extraordinaire. The central governor theory I want to share with everybody, which says that when you're pushing your body hard for an extended period of time, those voices are going to start coming into your head saying, hey, this is not safe. This is not a good idea. Maybe we can slow down. Maybe we can stop. Maybe we can take a little break. And the true champions have learned to ignore that voice, because if you've trained well, if you've put in several months of work, you've been on those long runs, you've been on those exceedingly speedy runs that hurt like crazy. You've got to trust in your body. You're not going to break. You're not going to break. Your body is trained to take this kind of pain. And the central governor theory, the idea is that throughout human evolution, we've had to have this voice that preserves us, that allows us to carry on beyond whatever is going on in the moment so that we can live to fight another day. But if you're well trained, that voice is a liar. It's going to tell you to slow down. It's going to tell you to take it easy when you already got the proof in hand that you're more than capable of putting up with that pain. You're not going to break. Nothing's going to pop. You're not going to snap anything. You're just going to experience some pain along the way, and that's all there is to it. That voice will start talking to you when you've used up a mere 40 to 60% of your total energy reserves. So you're nowhere near done when you start to get those negative thoughts in your head. So it's just a matter of training yourself throughout your training cycle to learn to ignore it, to learn to move past it. One of the great ways to get that negativity out of your head is through mantras. Just a simple phrase, a simple positive phrase that you can repeat to yourself over and over again for as long as you have to in order to quiet that negative talk. A lot of people like to keep their mantras to themselves. It's a very personal sort of thing. Personally, I share all mine. I know plenty of other runners who share theirs too. The two that are working for me now, and they have changed over time, it's perfectly okay to try out different ones. One that is I came up with myself that works for me will probably sound a little bit familiar to those who follow my channel. I keep pushing. That's been a long-time favorite of mine that I came up with myself. But I have to admit that there is another mantra that I've been using extensively throughout this training cycle that is not mine, that I got from someone else, a great American distance runner who actually holds the American marathon record. The mantra itself is relax and flow. It has nothing to do with toughness. It has to do with the fact that your best performances come when you relax your body, when you're not pushing overly hard, when you're not tensing up. If you just let your body do what you've trained it to do and get out of its way as much as possible, relax and flow has worked so well for me in my longer runs during this training cycle. To me, that just means don't try too hard. Don't push yourself too hard. Just get out of the way. Your mind's coming along for the ride, but let your body do what it does. Folks, let me just do a little scrolling here. I want to make sure that I'm not just covering the same old ground over and over again. Another great tool in race tactics to keep you moving forward and not just getting caught up in the negativity or in the pain of it all, is to have ready access to some checklists that have to do with the way you're performing, to make sure that you're letting your body perform at its best. The very first checklist that I go through several times throughout a marathon is to maintain my form, to make sure that I am running with maximum physical efficiency. If you're tensing up, if you're running with bad form, you're burning up that muscle glycogen faster than you need to, and it's not going to help you. It's just going to bring the potential to hit that wall sooner rather than later. So I'm constantly telling myself everything along the lines of head up, run tall, keep my head balanced over my shoulders, relax those shoulders, don't tense them up. I tend to pull mine up as I'm running. Swing the arms straight back and forth like pendulums. Don't let them cross the midline of my body, because then you start twisting. You're going to end up hurting yourself. Hips forward, that's another big thing for me. Of all of the checklist things, for me personally, the most important is hips forward, because it's easy to kind of start bending at the waist, and then it's like you're running. You can't get maximum torque out of your legs if your hips aren't forward. So that's a big one for me. The other one I really like to repeat to myself is quick feet, because if your cadence is high, which is to say the steps per minute, if your cadence is high, you're less likely to be reaching out in front of you, which means you're not going to be landing on your heels and sending shock waves up your leg, up the whole kinetic chain, and possibly hurting yourself. Quick feet, that's an important one. And another one is lead with your knees, so that you're not just trying to get your feet out further in front of you. If you're doing quick feet and you're always got your knees in front of your feet, you're always trying to land directly under the center of your mass, you're going to be in good shape. You're going to be doing everything you can to stay healthy, not turn an ankle, not, mash your heels and end up in more pain than you really need to be in. Maintaining your pace is a big one. It's a very big one. I always like to take the first couple of miles, as I was saying earlier. I like to take the first couple of miles of a marathon or a half marathon to ease into my intended pace. It takes a few minutes to get your body warmed up, get the juices flowing, get the muscles loose, so that you can hit your true pace. So I like to go out 10 to 15 seconds slower for the first couple of miles than my intended pace, and then get on it. But once I'm on it, folks, I'm looking down at my watch every half mile. There's something that happens for me every half mile of a race. Check the watch, get a drink. I like 1 ounce every half mile to make sure I'm staying ahead of the hydration, because once you get dehydrated in the latter stages of a race, it's impossible to catch up. At that point, you're done. You're done. Your body will never absorb the electrolytes and the liquid that it needs once you've approached the point of bonk to be able to save the race. So hydrate early, hydrate often, and stay ahead of that curve. What else can I tell you, folks? Check your cadence and count your cadence. Physically count your cadence. Pick your left foot or pick your right foot, whatever you prefer. And every time it lands in the space of 1 minute, checking very carefully on your watch, count that, because your watch can tell you your cadence immediately, but that's not the point here. The point is when the pain is starting to build, keep yourself distracted with positivity. Keep yourself distracted with whatever it takes. And if that means once every mile, checking your cadence, counting out your cadence, that's a couple of minutes per mile that you're going to be busy thinking about other things besides the pain you're in. Hey, I'm happy to see that Susie is here. Susie from I Run Things, yet another one of my coaching clients who is also the host of one of my absolute favorite running channels here on YouTube. Susie, thank you for being here. Don't be sorry you're late. Life happens. Earlier today, Susie was a guest on Kofuzi's Happy Hour live stream, and boy, was it a whole lot of fun. And Susie, thank you. I truly appreciate the shout outs that you gave me on that one. Yeah, Susie is doing incredible things. Right now, she is about 2.5 weeks out from a half marathon, which I've been training her for, where she is going to be trying to PR a half marathon. But that is not the focus of our training, us working together. That is a mere stepping stone, because this October at the Wine Glass Marathon in New York, Susie is going to be going for her very first BQ. And we are well on our way. The kind of speed improvements and endurance improvements that I've seen out of Susie so far are absolutely incredible. So folks, I encourage you to follow along. Susie will be a guest on one of my Coach's Corner live streams, I think the week after next. We're going to be talking about her taper. So there's going to be a lot of fun there. And if you want to know how her training is going with updates a couple of times a week, get over to Susie's channel, I Run Things, and get yourself subscribed, because it's a whole lot of fun every time that she brings a new update. Folks, what else can I tell you about? Check your cadence. There was one other thing that I wanted to talk about as a distraction, and it's escaped me. Folks, we're at the tail end of this anyway, so any questions? If anybody in there has got any questions for me, please get them into me now. I'm going to do a little circling of the airport right here, just trying to kill time to give you all one last chance to ask me any questions. We've talked about what I'm wearing. We've talked about how I am fueling. We've talked about how I am carb loading. Well, we haven't really talked about what I'm eating as I carb load. For me, the tried and true meals that work for me every time, the 3 days leading into a race, are a big oatmeal breakfast with whey protein powder added in, so that I'm getting a nice mix of protein and carbohydrates to make sure that I'm keeping things balanced, and so that my muscles can continue to repair themselves even while I am getting the glycogen stores built up in my muscles. For dinner, things get really boring going into race day for me. It's pretty much always a mixed green salad or kale with chicken, because I know it works for my stomach. Breakfast for me will be the same thing as my midday snack as I go into each race, which is always a protein powder shake, which is the whey and casein protein mixed with spirulina, a banana, the peanut butter powder, or real natural peanut butter, depending on the day. If I feel like I need a little bit more of healthy fats, then I go with the natural peanut butter in there. I don't want to forget to say ground flax and chia seeds are always a part of that. But that usually makes my snack going in, but it also makes my race day breakfast. So our little mini blender, our little ninja blender, will be traveling with us to Cary on Saturday, so that I can have breakfast somewhere around 2 or 3 in the morning before I head off to catch the bus to the race. I've got a weird stomach. I have an iron stomach when I'm in the race. I can take down all kinds of different gels. I can handle all kinds of caffeine. I can handle everything from, you name the flavor of Gatorade, I can handle it. I can handle Tailwind. I've tried UCAN a few times. I've even tried the Morton gels, and I've tried the Morton drink mix. Everything sits well. Once I'm in the heat of battle in race, for some reason, I can handle anything. But here's the weird exception to that rule. When it comes to breakfast, pre-race or even before a long run, if I don't get that breakfast in minimum 3 hours beforehand, I'm toast, dude. I'm just like, my stomach will be churning. I will be constantly in line at the Porta Johns at the race site, and it's just bad news. So I've learned that the hard way. This will be my 13th, lucky 13th marathon of my life. So I'm hoping that lucky number will pay off for me. Again, I'm gunning for a 2:52:23 or faster. My intended race pace of 6:29, 6:30. I hate to say this out loud, but I'm going to share it with everybody. If I hold 6:29s, I'm actually going to run a 2:49:59 marathon, folks. So I tried to give myself a buffer. So as long as I keep it within anywhere from 6:29s to 6:35s, I'll walk away with a PR. And at my age, I think I would be extraordinarily happy to be able to earn a PR at my age. Trying to beat what I did in 2019 when I was 50 years old, a spring chicken of 50 years old, is where it's at. So that's what it's all about, folks. I'm still toying with the idea of maybe putting in an 18 to 20 week cycle for another marathon in late fall of 2023. But in the interim, I plan to have a lot of fun with some shorter stuff, 5K, 10K, half marathon stuff, where I'll try to one more time break all my PRs in those distances. One thing that's very cool that I would like to share with you, and I would like to encourage everyone. I'll come back to this. I just want to share this one. Thank you, Susie. I hope you're right. I'll be trying my hardest. I promise you that, folks. As far as my mindset goes, going into race day, I am not going to play it conservatively, folks. I've gone into every long run and every speed session of this session thinking I would rather burn out than fade away, folks. I'd rather crash and burn than think to myself when I cross the finish line, what if I'd pushed harder? So the first 2 to 2.5 miles, let's just call it 3 miles, I'm going to try to keep it dead on 6:40 per mile. After that, I'm on 6:30s. Do or die, folks. Even with the hills at the end of the race, I'm going to try to hold 6:30s. If I blow up, then I blow up. But I'm not going to try to be conservative in the first half, running less than my intended pace in order to try to save some steam for the last of it. I'm just going all in. So it's 6:30s all the way to the end, or it's not, simply because I was physically incapable of doing so. As far as my mindset goes, I promise I've been listening to enough David Goggins, and I have a particularly favorite set of motivational videos on YouTube, which I may share in the coming days with everyone, maybe with some community posts on my YouTube channel. So keep an eye out for that. Hopefully they can help you on your running journey as well. Again, Susie, thank you. Thank you. It means so much to me to know that there are people out there willing to support me who've got my back. Everybody who's been here tonight, thank you so much for contributing to the chat. Anybody who is watching this after the fact, I encourage you, again, as I said at the beginning of all this, to leave a question or a comment below. If there's anything you want to know about the way I've trained or how I train other runners, I'd be more than happy to get back to you. So just do that. Again, folks, if you've enjoyed this content, please give it a like. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. I'd absolutely love to have you aboard, and it helps the channel to grow and reach other people thanks to the YouTube algorithm. I also want to again mention, as I did at the very beginning, sort of a shameless plug for DevRunnerCoaching.com, where you can learn all about how we can work together with a coach-client relationship to help you reach your running goals, whatever they may be, from your first 5K to marathoning and doing your best at any of those distances. Or if you're just looking for a personalized training plan, I can also build one just for you. So DevRunnerCoaching.com is where it is. Folks, thank you for being here. I will post the race day video as soon as I can get back into town and do some heavy duty editing. In the meanwhile, thank you for all the support over the 14 long weeks of trying to get to this point. I truly appreciate you. Thank you so much to the whole running community. I'm going to sign off now, folks. We're just about at an hour, so I think I've done my due diligence, but I don't want to belabor this subject matter any more than I have to. So, folks, thank you for being here. I'll see you next week. What do I always say? Get healthy, stay strong, and keep pushing. Peace out, folks.